Hello everyone and welcome back to Mobalytics. Today we're going to be going over the best tips for you to climb on Aurelion Sol featuring me, Pekin Woof. I've been a challenger for multiple seasons and known to be one of the best Aurelion Sols on the North American server, even pulling it out back when I played it in Academy. So I definitely know my stuff about playing everybody's favorite space dog. If you are interested in learning more about how to play Aurelion Sol just like me and copy some of my builds, runes, and see my playstyle, then the best way is with Mobalytics. Now onto his runes. You want to take Phase Rush in nearly every circumstance. It's just the best rune for him, not only being able to keep up with his opponents during trading, but also allows him to escape early ganks without having to blow a summoner. The next rune down should be Nullifying Orb or Mana Flow Band. In cases that I'm versus a poke heavy mage who is hard to proc the Mana Flow Band on like Cinder or Orianna, I like to take Nullifying Orb to ease my laning phase during their all-ins. The next rune taken is Celerity for the obvious movement speed. Aurelion Sol likes to roam and uses Phase Rush, so it makes it so those movement abilities are stronger, and that's always a benefit. The last primary rune that we will be taking is Water Walking. Roaming down the river after pushing is a must on Aurelion Sol if you want to be able to find success on him. He can solo kill his opponents, but his kit is just better at roaming, so we want to be able to abuse that kit to its fullest potential. For the first secondary rune, I like to run Biscuit Delivery. Aurelion Sol can have really bad mana problems, and it just makes it so you can regen some of that mana because it's based on how much mana you're missing, so you're able to just have it easier laning phase overall. The next rune should either be Approach Velocity or Time Warp Tonic. Time Warp can actually catch people off guard with its instant healing, and it just gives you a little bit of movement speed boost overall, but Approach Velocity gives you more movement speed, and it allows you to chase people down easier. Basically, Time Warp is for the early game, and Approach Velocity is more for the mid/late game. To quickly go over items, you always want to start Corrupting Potion in any game, with your first back being either Dark Seal or Boots, mostly based on your personal preference. Try to purchase at least tier 1 boots before finishing a full item because it's going to aid with Aurelion Sol's roaming. The tier 2 boots that you should purchase is normally Sorc boots, but if you actually are versus a lot of crowd control, Merc Treads is a very good option. For first completed item, I prefer to go Rod of Ages, but some Aurelion Sols prefer going Rylai's first. Rylai's gives better dueling and teamfight, but it is a trade-off for having potential mana issues. In the event that you do want to go Rylai's, I would also recommend using Mana Flow Band to aid with the mana issues. The best way to know which one you actually prefer is just going into game and testing out which one feels better on your Aurelion Sol. In the case that you're using my build by going Rod of Ages, go Rylai's second as it is his core purchase item, allowing you to have better teamfight and just better chase overall. And for the last core items to finish up the build, you're either going to go Zhonya's Hourglass for better survivability, or Liandry's for better damage and tank shred. Just go the one that you don't purchase first right after. In the event that you make it to the extreme late game and you've built all of your core items, you will still have one item slot left, where you can go either Morello for the healing reduction, Deathcap for just more damage versus low MR targets, or Void Staff if there is a lot of people building magic resist. The first tip is how to play the early levels correctly. Aurelion Sol has some of the strongest early wave clear in the game, so we want to be able to abuse that. What we want to do is a third wave reset. To do this is simple. Auto the wave and shove it in using your W occasionally, just to make sure that you're being wary of how much mana you're using, and then on the third wave, shove as hard as you can and immediately go and reset. If you do it correctly, you can actually arrive back in lane before any minions die, effectively getting a purchase and restocking your potions without any counterplay really. It can also be done on the next wave, but it normally happens on the third wave just because you use up most of your potions during this time and normally you run out by the third wave, plus it gives you the perfect purchase to be able to buy either boots or Dark Seal. The second tip is how to correctly dodge ganks. Unlike the most popular Phase Rush champion Ryze, who can just use all of his abilities quickly to proc it, Aurelion Sol often must add one auto between using his Q and W to actually proc it. This sounds like a very easy tip to do, but a lot of people don't really think about it in a desperate situation, and this is going to save you many summoner spells and deaths just by knowing that you must turn around to auto attack the target despite that you're getting ganked. It is a scary thing to do to turn around during a gank, so it takes some getting used to, but this is an extremely important tip to being able to play Aurelion Sol to his best potential. Once you reach level 6, there is a combo that you can do to effectively dodge ganks too, which is the QR combo. You actually make it so you use your Q and then you ulti them into your Q as it's still moving, effectively stunning them right as they get to the full length of your R. It is a pretty simple trick to do, and there isn't really anything to go over besides just make sure that you use your Q before using your ulti, and it should push them directly into the stun to make a quick getaway. Aurelion Sol's unique kit allows him to push extremely hard and roam very quickly, so identifying before you even do the push where the best lane to gank is going to find you a ton of success rather than deciding where you're going to go right after you shove the wave. Try to get into the habit of between each minion wave to pay attention to your jungler, the pink wards, the HP of your own allies, plus the lane positions that everybody is in. Heading to a place where you have better vision or where your jungler is the often correct move, but looking to see if you're actually going to have your teammates healthy enough to follow up is detrimental. You don't want to roam to a lane where you get there and they can't even follow up on your roam because they're too low or they're too unhealthy and they're losing too hard. The next tip is going on to how to play the mid game, where Aurelion Sols can often get lost or confused if they're new to the champion. The main goal for Aurelion Sol is to assist the strong lanes. He's a champion who can really help out others and do well and snowball harder. He isn't really a champion during the mid game who looks for 1v1 picks and stuff like that. So because of this, try to make it so your team allows you to stay inside the mid lane so you can roam to both sides. Focus on trying to shove quickly rather than trying to fight whoever you're against, and roam to wherever you feel like a new fight will break out or where the next objective is going to be taken. The main goal at this point should be able to get to fights faster than your opponent, because that's really where Aurelion Sol can thrive at because of how fast he is, especially using his E, so you want to make it so there's number advantage fights for you arriving sooner. For the last tip, we're going to be going over some of the annoying matchups or hard matchups that Aurelion Sol has to deal with, which are champions that have point and click crowd control that stop his orbs during the early game, which can just be very frustrating overall. Notably, these are Kassadin and Twisted Fate most often because they're able to stop his orbs on a very short cooldown, and Kassadin is very easy, just point and click and just Q him and then your orbs go down. So what do you do against this? Well, it's pretty simple. You just go and stand inside of the wave and just don't use your W and just auto attack the wave. If they decide to stop you from pushing your tiny orbs by using the ability on you, then just activate your W and you're free to use it for however long the cooldown is on their ability, which is normally long enough that you can shove out. So the best case scenario against these champions is actually just don't use your W until they use their crowd control ability, and you should be able to get the first push and pressure them pretty hard using this method. The next thing is, remember that versus melee targets, some people really underestimate how much chase Aurelion Sol really has, which can create really nice scenarios for you to actually get a huge advantage in. Take this game versus Fizz for example, where I just wait for him to use his E, then immediately go on him with my orbs and auto attacks and chase him all the way under tower. He even has his jungler come up behind me, but there's nothing really that they can do because I just can always have my orbs out, which deal consistent damage, and I have phase rush and stun, and I'm just abusing the fact that they don't really have any way to stick on top of me because I'm a phase rush champion and I have very consistent damage with my orbs. A lot of champions at level 1 don't really have that strong of abilities to fight consistently, so that means that if you fight an Aurelion Sol level 1, you will almost always lose. This doesn't matter what champion you're really playing as. If I'm playing versus an Ahri level 1 and she Qs me, it's not really gonna do anything. Meanwhile, I have my orbs going on for a very long time until I run out of mana, so who was going to win the fight? Probably the person who has more consistent damage. So try to take into account how much consistent damage you have and just pay attention to what the abilities of your opponent are and see if maybe you can actually win the consistent damage battle. This has been the 5 quick tips for climbing ranked with Aurelion Sol. Make sure to head on over to mobalytics.gg to check out your GPI and see how you can improve your play. And as always, thank you for watching.